Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. An investigation by WRAL's 5 on Your Side and Education Insider found many classrooms are lacking a permanent teacher. It all started when a Wake County Public Schools mom noticed her son was starting to fall behind. WRAL's Keely Arthur joins me to talk about how widespread this problem is. Keely, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So how did you meet this mom?
So the way I meet a lot of people nowadays, we got an email. She emailed, I think, just WRAL, and she felt like she had nowhere to turn. Usually that's the case when people email the TV station, is they've tried to talk to the normal people they would talk in a given situation, and they don't get a response, or they don't get a response they like, so then they come to us.
Okay. And so once you started talking to her, what was her story? What was she noticing? And when did she start to notice that her son was regressing?
Yeah, so her name is Jennifer Chanilo. She's a Raleigh mom with a student in high school at Wake County. Her son Corbin has special needs. He's non-speaking, and they actually moved to this area specifically to get into the Wake County School District because they were told how great it is for students with special needs. And she said her experience up until this point had been really good. He had a great teacher last year, and she, I think, believed that that was going to be the same teacher this year. And in the middle of September, so a few weeks into the start of the school year, she began to notice that Corbin's speech tablet that he began using maybe a year or two ago to communicate all kinds of things. I mean, he was really able to have conversations with his mom for the first time. He stopped using it for everything but asking to eat. And she just mentioned something off the cuff to a staff member during drop-off and pickup. And they said, oh, yeah, well, Corbin's teacher hasn't been here the entire semester. It's been subs or this rotating cast of other teachers fulfilling the duties.
Yeah, well, it strikes me with that story that it sounds like this tablet was a pretty big breakthrough. So I can see how, having a teacher who had that kind of impact on her son was probably really important.
Yeah, that's right. And the tablet you look at it, looks pretty straightforward. You can see images and icons to communicate, but you can also add lesson plans to it. That a trained teacher can do that. And if you're not trained and you don't know how to do that, you can't add lesson plans. So she noticed there were no new lesson plans. Nothing was being added to this tablet. Thus, whatever Corbin was being taught in the classroom wasn't really being communicated as well if it had been put in the tablet. And a teacher needs special training for that. And it was Jennifer's understanding that the people that were coming in to kind of fill that role weren't trained in the same way.
Right. So she finds this out. What did she do from there?
She said that she contacted the school many times and was trying to get a hold of them, just even in acknowledgement. And she said it took a week before they even responded saying, yep, that's right. There hasn't been a teacher here the entire semester. And I think in that same email, they elaborated on what they were doing. There were 3 other teachers that, like I had said, were going in to still be there. But this was not sufficient for Jennifer. I think any parent with any kind of student knows how important having a consistent teacher is to help the child develop.
Right. And so for you, what was your process from there? You reached out to Wake County Schools. What did they tell you about how often this is happening, that a classroom isn't having a permanent teacher in it?
Yeah, we found that this is certainly a statewide issue. I think the latest numbers, it's like 787 special education teachers and 2,355 other teachers, so like general education teachers in the state. But in Wake County, it's more than 200 for both of those sets, special ed and non-special ed. If you look, there are fewer vacancies for special education, but when you kind of run the percentages, there are far more vacancies for special education teachers in terms of that teacher-to-student ratio. So it's a big problem statewide, and it's certainly a big problem in Wake County.
Okay, let's take a quick break right there, and we'll be right back. Keely, before the break, you were talking about what the vacancy numbers are in Wake County and in North Carolina. I wonder how that compares to what we're seeing across the country.
I think every country, or every state, I should say, is seeing similar issues. The thing that's unique about North Carolina is it has this reputation of being a great place for public education. When I started reaching out to experts to do interviews about this very topic, they were surprised. They were like, well, North Carolina, this is too bad it's happening here, because this is an area that usually is pretty strong, which is troubling when you consider the problem in the state, that there are much bigger issues in other states.
Sure. And so what do experts say is causing teachers to leave when they look across the board?
I think a lot of people think it's pay. We know teachers are notoriously underpaid, and normally to get a special education certificate and be a licensed special ed teacher usually requires a master's degree. The mother we interviewed, Jennifer, actually wanted to become a special education teacher, I think before she was even pregnant with Corbin, and then realized, oh, I'm going to have to pay for all this money to go to school, and then I'm going to make this. I'm not going to do it. So it's pay, but the expert we spoke to, who was from the University of Phoenix, she's fabulous. She was a teacher for 30 years and now teaches teachers. Mm-hmm. She said that it's job satisfaction. So teachers feeling like they actually have a hand in improving a student's life and being able to see that and being given the tools from the district to help students succeed.
Okay. And, that seems like something that's kind of hard to combat, at least if you're in her position and she's a parent. Is there anything that parents can do if they find out that this is happening in their kid's classroom?
I mean, this is my own take on it, but I think the only thing you can do is advocate and push for answers. Jennifer said that she wants to go to some school board meetings, and the squeaky wheel kind of gets the grease. But what she's found is when she finally does get a response back from the district or the principal, they say, look, we empathize with you, but this is a problem much bigger than Corbin. If we were to move him, there's going to be another classroom that doesn't have a teacher. So they just feel like there's no easy answer. And while I'm sure Jennifer feels like it's a huge deal for her family, there are a lot of families facing this right now. The district has tried to, in the past, incentivize specifically special education teachers with signing bonuses and things like that. But there's still, dozens of vacancies.
Okay, well, it's something that we'll continue to keep an eye on. Thank you so much, Keely, and thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.